Right, so we read chapter 17, but chapter 18 is kind of a continuance all the way to verse 16. So Genesis chapter 18, 1 through 16, we're going to go ahead and add to chapter 17 to this video. You agree with that?
Yeah, that's
okay. Good. Because then it goes in, we talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. So we want to kind of split that chapter up a little bit, just so you don't get confused. Genesis 18. The Lord appeared again to Abraham. Remember, he's Abraham now, not Abram. He's the father of nations now. While he was living in the oak grove at Mamre. And this is, okay, and Mamre was where the pagan temple had been in the other chapter that we discussed, where God sent Abram to live in the open land, and he built an altar to God in the pagan, on the top of the pagan temple where it was. So now that's Mamre. So they're back there again. This is the way it happened. One hot summer afternoon, Abraham was sitting in the opening of his tent. He suddenly noticed 3 men coming towards him. You can imagine, this is how I picture the 3 men riding up like in the movie. You see the waves of the heat coming off the land, and you see this kind of galloping across, kind of like the desert or the lush farmland. And you see the heat and the waves, and he sees it, and he's like, you know, is that a mirage? I don't know why, but that's the way I picture that scene. But anyway, see, I should be a film director. He sprang up and ran to meet them and to welcome them. Remember, back then, visitors, they were welcome. I mean, you fed them, you celebrated their arrival. Sirs, he said, please don't go any further. Stop a while and rest here in the shade of this tree while I get water to refresh your feet. He's almost 100 years old, and he's fetching water, and he's entertaining. You know, he likes company. And a bite to eat to strengthen you. Do stay a while before continuing your journey. All right, they said. Do as you have said. You know, go get us something to eat and wash our feet, and we'll be happy. So in Genesis chapter 18, verse 6, then Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, which it means princess now, quick, mix up some pancakes. Use your best flour and make enough for 3 of them, for 3 men. Then he ran out to the herd and selected a fat calf and told the servant to hurry and butcher it, soon taking them cheese and milk and roast veal. He then set, 2 pages there, he then set it before the men and stood beneath the trees beside them as they ate. So you can picture that, wind blowing through the leaves. Where is Sarah, your wife? They asked him. In the tent, Abram replied. Then the Lord said, next year I will give you and Sarah a son. Sarah was listening from the tent door behind him. So now we know that one of them was the Lord. So they're not trying to fool you here in the Bible. They're actually saying that the 3 men coming, that Abram knew that they were, you know, Abram knew. And he was going to feed them and do them. Well, then the Lord must have revealed himself to who he was to Abram at that point. So whether Abram actually, do you think Abram actually recognized him right at first? It said 3 angels.
Well, it says we've entertained angels unaware. So the sociable thing to do was to welcome them in, to give them something to eat, and to do something. And it says that in the course of their discussion, the Lord revealed himself to Abram.
Yeah. So Sarah laughed silently. A woman my age have a baby? She scoffed at herself. And with a husband as old as mine? Then God said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is nothing too hard for God? Next year, just as I told you, I will certainly see to it that Sarah has a son. But Sarah denied it. I didn't laugh. She lied, for she was afraid. Then the men stood up from their meal and started on toward Sodom. And Abraham went with a part of them on the way. Well, he went part way with them on their journey. All right, so we're going to stop there. So Sarai's afraid now because she knows that God heard her laugh about it, and she doesn't want to cross God. but she's still a little bit in denial there. So
Whatever God promises, He will do it.